Welcome back to the Ranch It Up radio show. It's the most information packed into a 30-minute program that you can find at your All Things Ranching newscast, and so glad to be hanging out with y'all. Questions, comments, concerns, criticisms, rants, it doesn't matter. Give us a call or text 707-RANCH-20. That's 707-726-2420. Our email, ranchitupshow@gmail.com, and we're prowling around social media at Ranch It Up Show. Finding the right genetics is not what it was like years ago. You bought this group of heifers or that bull just because, well, they look like they should get the job done, right? But what if you could get this so dialed in and know exactly what your cow needs? Not just an educated guess, but educated science, maybe I'm going to call it. Well, let me take this one step further. What if your bull supplier can help you with that? In fact, what if they can do it for you? That is the customer service provided by Jorgensen Land and Cattle in Ideal, South Dakota. Cody Jorgensen joins us today. Cody, your sale is coming up in just a couple weeks, and you've implemented the Ideal Beef valuation that literally can, as I just said, dial in exactly what my cows need.
We have a collaboration agreement with the Zoetis, and they are helping us run our own genetic evaluation. Okay. And so we have our own evaluation, and we call it the Ideal Beef Evaluation, IBE. All right. And so all of the animals that we raise here in Ideal, and also all of the animals that we procure from our genetic partners, our multiplier herds, will be DNA tested and, also performance tested as we do our own bulls. And all of that information then gets submitted into our IBE, the Ideal Beef Evaluation. We are now using our own evaluation to evaluate the cattle, if you will, rather than using, like, what we would typically do is use the American Angus Association to provide us the EPDs and the performance. We still, on our registered cattle that we raise here in Ideal, we do still submit them into the American Angus Association evaluation. But we feel that the data that we get out of the Ideal Beef evaluation is, I would say, just a little bit more clear and polished. We're using that data to really make the selection and the decisions, the breeding decisions going forward. And so the way that fits in with the IBG, the Ideal Beef genetic system, I like to refer to it as an ecosystem. And so we're putting this in front of our customers. We're offering a DNA test for our customers that they can test their cows, or a cross section of their cow herd, or perhaps maybe even just their heifers, and we'll send that information into our evaluation and get EPDs back, just like you would when you would normally send into the American Angus Association. Well, what it does for us is it allows us then to gather some very good intel on our customers' cow herd. Right. And so what we can do with that then is we're able to help them make decisions on, what heifers they may want to keep and breed. Or better yet, we get an idea of where they stand from a genomic standpoint, look at where their weaknesses are and where their strengths are. And then we're able to select a set of bulls that would complement their DNA. And so the ultimate goal then would be to make a calf that, would fit the industry in some facet, somewhere, wherever it might fit into the industry along the lines. And we're able to help them make breeding selections based on a genomic standpoint. And there isn't too many other seedstock guys out there that have that ability.
Now, we're talking about selective matings, correct? Say, for example, if somebody just is going after pounds per acre, pounds per cow, or however they're calculating that, or if you have the enterprise of, say, you're selling some open females or some bred heifers, right? I mean, we're talking about selective matings.
Absolutely. That is absolutely correct. The first thing is knowing where your cow herd is from a genomic standpoint. And once we know, a little bit more about, once we gather that intel, then it's just a matter of, it's really pretty quite easy. You just, selecting the bulls that complement the cattle for the goal of that operation. In the old days, when my grandfather was doing this, he didn't have these tools, and it was kind of like, you should buy this bull because I think he's really good. I think he would fit your program. Well, I'm unable to do that because people don't look at me like that. But I am able to say you should buy these bulls or rent these bulls because this is what the DNA says, and DNA is forensic, and you can't tamper with it. So it's a neat process, and I think in my space, in my world, I think it is quite cutting edge.
Now, you've taken the IBE, the ideal beef evaluation for these bulls, and you've made it very, very easy to use in the catalog. I really like this. You've created the lack of a better word, I'm going to say a pie chart, I'm going to call it, to very quickly see where these animals excel and where they don't through a program called Egg Boost.
Egg Boost is a software program that we use to take all of the information that we submit that the IBE spits out, and it's a visualization tool. Okay. And so it takes all that data and it puts it into a visualization wheel, that I call it. And so you can glance at that wheel and you can identify where that animal is good and where that animal needs some work. And that's the tool. That's the software program that we use when we have our genetic consulting sessions with our customers. We're able to look at their cow herd as a whole and say, wow, you're really strong here in intermuscular fat. Tell me where you think you need some work, and we'll see if the DNA lines up. And a lot of times it does. It's remarkable when they say, I think seems like my weaning weights have been slipping the last couple of years, due to selection on low birth. And so we'll we can prove that. We can show you that it actually is a little bit below average. So we'll make a selection on some bulls that may enhance weaning weight. And so it's a great tool, rather than getting a bunch of numbers that come across on a flat file or an Excel file that really make your head scratch. This visualization tool, the Egg Boost, really helps you interpret and understand the DNA. With respect to other seed stock operations, this is just a very, very unique way to analyze, look, and actually breed your cattle. It's a good way to do it. Instead of kind of throwing a lawn dart up in the air, you actually have some intel that you're making an educated decision.
You're using all the technology in the world to make selections and ultimately allowing customers to make educated selections. But you're linking this to the past as well. And what I mean is this. There is a sire group by the bull called Band 174. What's the deal with this guy?
He's the bull that was born in 1977. And all of these bulls that are in this offering are they come from our mother lode cows. And I tell you what, so here's a bull that's basically 40 years older than the cows that we bred them to. And it's interesting to see how those animals performed. I mean, they actually were number one in yearling weight, number two in weaning weight as we evaluated them as a sire group. And so it's kind of a leap back, but yet leap forward sire group, if you will. And I really think it's unique. You're not going to see anything else like that out in the industry in terms of an offering. And so I think it's just something that I definitely would like people to at least take a look at and see what they think. So there's lots of different ways to view the cattle. Obviously, DV auction, we're up and going. We have all our videos up and going, and they're all ready to go. And then the best choice is if we could get you to come to Ideal, South Dakota and take a look at them in person. We love that We love that absolutely the most.
So kind of landing the plane here, Cody, your sale is coming up Monday, April 21st at the Lazy J Grand Lodge in Ideal, South Dakota. It's your 53rd annual Top Cut Angus Bull Sale, powered by the mother load. In fact, that phrase, powered by the mother load, is all over the sale book. And you even mentioned it just a couple minutes ago. So what do you mean by that, powered by the mother load?
Isn't that cool? I mean, it gives me goosebumps when I think about that and say it. Here's a set of bulls in this offering that are sincerely powered by our mother load breeding philosophy. Angus cattle generally, that's one of their major advantages is that they have a trouble-free female, right? People raise Angus cattle just because they're high in carcass and they have the most trouble-free female. Well, what we're trying to do is do the same thing, but maybe just tweak that radio dial a little bit to kind of come up with a little better animal. And we're breeding these animals with the female in mind, right? That's why we call it the mother load. We're breeding animals that make bulls that make excellent females. Okay. And once we get the female right, I think everybody can agree if they have mama cows, once you get your cow herd right, you could breed them to about anything and still have a fantastic calf crop.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think that generally, just generally speaking about the mother load, that is the overall goal. We're breeding for females that create bulls that create excellent females.
Cody Jorgensen Land and Cattle, their 53rd annual Top Cut Angus Bull Sale, Monday, April 21st at the Lazy J Grand Lodge in Ideal, South Dakota. Bid and buy online at Superior Livestock and DV Auction. All sale information is available at jorgensenfarms.com and ranchchannel.com. Now, time for a quick break. Coming up next, market recaps and a whole lot more of the cow stuff right here on the Ranch It Up Radio Show.